Hello, Kansas and Western fans. It's time for episode number 18 of the construction of the Kansas and Western HO scale railroad. Today we'll do a overview of the whole layout. The vote for the last period was to work on structures. So I'm going to go over the whole layout to show all the places where I've managed to do that. And we will start over here in the Royal Gorge route. There aren't any structures planned for this area, so this has basically been untouched this whole time. And moving around the bend to Canon City, the first one that we see is for this rock company that's in Canon City, where they ship all kinds of rock. So this is that sanding tower, that Waller's sanding tower. It looks actually pretty similar to what they have in Canon City. So that's there just to help me decide how I'm going to lay track in here. And I have a lot of the track just set out just to help me start to visualize how I want to lay things. But you'll notice a lot of these structures aren't finished, and that's by intent. I'm really just trying to get the major footprints of each structure put in place, again, so I can locate track properly, get an idea of how the primary part of each structure is going to sit and look. So that's why it's not done. Some are painted to some degree, some aren't. A lot of that's because it's easier to paint parts before you glue them together, so you don't have overspray and stuff like that. So that's why these don't look finished. And moving down to Canon City, I didn't get anything extra done on Portland cement this time. And then you can see a train here off the programming track. This is how I intend to introduce all new rolling stock to the layout. Ultimately, what would be nice would be to weather it first before putting it on the layout. I'm not sure I'll get to that. I do try to at least get the trucks and couplers painted because those stand out the most to me. But once that's done, it'll be added to the programming track, and then that'll be a little operations session to have a engine come out, probably from the Junta yard, to come pick it up, and then from there it'll enter the inventory for the layout. We'll move around. And down here to Pueblo, I've started this fuel distribution terminal. Really just have the tanks put together for that for now. Because again, that's kind of the primary structure, takes up the most space, so I can start to get an idea of what space I'll have left for track. And I don't think I've ever talked about this before. This turnout, this is going to be for a defunct part of track. I was intentionally going to have like a river crossing here at the end because there is one near the Pueblo yard. I'm not sure I'm going to go to that trouble, but this one's going to kind of just disappear off into nothing as there's just some remnant rails and whatnot. I'm not sure if I want to solder the points closed, or actually points would be open on this turnout or not, but that's the intent for that. The other end will serve the yard for Pueblo. Moving around to La Junta yard. Nothing new down here until we get down to this end. I did get elements of this bridge constructed. I screwed up on one of the sections. I didn't place the overhang right for the bridge deck versus the girders. But I haven't yet decided if I want a third piece, because I haven't decided where exactly I want to place this bridge. Do I want to have it sitting perpendicular in this direction on this curve? And then if I do, the overhang from the decking to the edge of the layout is a little bit shorter than a full deck, so I would have to trim it anyway. So I'm not sure yet how I'm going to have that sit, but I'm just got it set up for now. I just was glad to see that it fit over the double tracks there, and then I'll have to figure out how I want these service tracks to interact with that bridge, especially with that loading ramp, just so it's believable that vehicles could get under the bridge and to that loading ramp instead of just the bridge pylons blocking the ramp. So not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but that's how that's set up. Moving around here to Lamar. Actually said the right name for once. Still nothing new in the seed oil refinery because that's just a complete scratch build, so still generating ideas. And then this warehouse thing, I keep calling it, I've decided to call it a fertilizer distributor. Because I just don't know what else it could be, and it's got to have a name at some point. So that's what this is. And the nondescript nature of it in reality kind of makes me think it might be a fertilizer distributor, because why do you want to advertise that to the general public and give bad people bad ideas? So that's what it is on this layout. Nobody can do any harm here. But that's generally what it's going to look like. There'll be an elevator here between these two silos, and then it will feed a line into the warehouse similar to the prototype. Nothing new done on that section. Moving over to Holly. I did get a new kit for Holly. There are several other structures besides the primary grain elevator in Holly, so I am going to represent those. There's a water tower. There's actually a modern concrete silo that will be on the other side of that older style silo. And then there's just several other types of vertical tanks and an older version of an elevator that will be here. So still quite a bit more to add to Holly. It's not going to just be this old style grain elevator. Moving up to Holcomb. Didn't manage to get into those kits, so they're still standing by. Now it's Garden City. I am starting to assemble tanks for the feed company, which a viewer was nice enough to tell me, I guess they might be familiar with that business. They take feed and turn it into, or take stock and turn it into feed for cattle. I think they said liquid feed, or turn it into blocks, something like that. I'm not familiar with the cattle industry, so I don't really know, but according to Google Earth, there's quite a few tanks there, so I'll be adding several more. And then right next door to that is a fuels terminal, so I'll probably do something similar to that too. So a lot of tank cars will be servicing this area. Moving around to Charleston Elevator. I did get the head house started. As you can see, it's a kit bash between two different Walthers grain elevator kits. I really wish this primary, this gray one, was taller, but couldn't really figure out how to make it taller and make it look right, so I just added the top of the head house to it, and then there'll be the transfer house on top that'll be all connected. But got that started, so that looks a little better. And then moving around to Wichita Industrial Park. I've got the lumber distributor, a good start into that. Both the main structures built. I think there's going to be room for a little office down here in this corner. And then all this plastic / concrete will be laid. It comes, a different kit comes with a chain link fence. So I'm going to add that along the tracks. But happy to at least get these structures in so I can see how they'll interact with mainline trains coming around and sort of being hidden by this foreground scene. So it looks like the tracks are actually coming from somewhere rather than just coming around the corner here. And then this corner, I'll probably add a lot of trees, something just to make the train disappear, so it kind of, again, hides that obvious appearance that we're just making a loop here. And moving down, this gondola represents where a scrap yard is going to be. And I've got the kit started for the cement distributor. That'll fit really nicely there. I was kind of surprised that all that is going to fit in place, so that was a nice surprise. And then in this empty space here, there's a Clean Harbors refinery, where I'm guessing they take waste fuels and refine them into something more usable. So I plan to put something like that in this area because it's right next door to the Wichita yard, like in the prototype. And then this Missouri Pacific switcher I just picked up a week ago. This indicates the end of the main line in terms of power. So I've got all the main line powered, just the main line, not all these other tracks, all the way around the corner and on this upper level, all the way up to this point. It's just kind of a visual reminder to mark, here's how far I've gotten. My next goal will be to try to get all the way to the end of the Wichita yard. But that kind of marks the position of where the main line is powered. And then moving around. And then I still have to put, I'm working on this Cargill plant here in the corner, which will kind of hide the transition over to El Dorado and Towanda from this view, kind of isolate this area of the layout. And then I got this office built, the yard office. It fits really nicely there. I have a couple HO scale cars there to represent, worker parking. So that'll work really nice. There'll be a lot of tracks to cover, but that'll be kind of an interesting road to build. And then for the main grain elevator, I did get that head house built. This is a much better attempt than my last one. There's only a couple windows on each side because it is a pain to cut windows, although I think I might have found a tool to make that easier. But this is a decent enough approximation that it'll be good for now. Still have to put a roof on it, but otherwise it's what I was looking for. Definitely different than what I can buy from a Walther's kit, so it really stands out. And it kind of looks just like I wanted it to, so that worked out pretty well. The Wichita yard itself, I did finish all the body tracks, and I'll give you a view here at the end. So everything is installed, just nothing is wired. But cars have been pushed by hand across all the joints. Everything works nice. And you can see there the locomotives just kind of representing a transition. After dropping their train off, they're going to transition around the end of the yard to the engine service terminal back over in that area. So that's how that looks like that'll work, and I'm just very pleased with the results. It looks really good. And then I recently received this camera car that my son gave me for Christmas. I'm looking forward to putting that to use. Still haven't figured out how to make it work yet, but I'm working on it. And then moving around to the end of the yard here. On the Union Pacific side, I have made a decision on track. Hope I don't regret it, but at this point, I can't just sit still anymore. I just don't know when microengineering is going to come out with more track. I've heard from multiple dealers that they either don't know or they're thinking maybe the summer, and I'm just not that patient a person. So I've decided to start collecting Walther's turnouts. I've heard a lot of good things about those. I used some on my staging level and liked them. So that's what you see here laid out, is a lot of Walther's turnouts. My personal opinion is they're definitely more mechanically functional. I've broken several microengineering turnouts because they're really quite fragile. These seem to be a little sturdier, but the main thing I don't like, which is why I didn't pick them in the first place, is the ties just seem a little bit too far apart, especially compared to the microengineering. Is that going to matter in a yard where there's going to be lots of ballast covering a good portion of the ties anyway? Probably not. And I'm going to have to cut most all of these block ties that are around either sides of the points, because I mean they come attached that way, whereas microengineering you can attach them to either side, so they're all going to get cut. And then this gigantic point throw bar here, I don't like how large those are, but honestly it's not going to break my heart, because I just want to get the track laid, and I know this will work, and I know it'll look nice, and a lot of people use it and they're happy with it, so I will be too. So I have this laid out, and then nothing else over here in Towanda, except I did pick up an oil pump kit. The area between Towanda and El Dorado is old oil field. Some of it is still in action. You can still see a lot of these working, so I'm going to have several here. And then moving down to El Dorado, still just collecting kits at this point. Not super excited about building any of them until I start getting track laid. But you can see I've added more to the El Dorado refinery. I've got that faller kit that I've seen in other layouts for that chemical plant. So all these will combine into one large refinery. Looking forward to building that. It's going to be a pain, but it'll look really cool when it's done, especially if I can get it all lit up like I've seen others do. So that's the overview for today. I'm going to keep going on with the vote. I really enjoy it. I really look forward to everybody's input. We're very curious to see every weekend what are people going to be interested to see done next. So leave a comment in the comments below about what you'd like me to see focused on for the next couple weeks. And I will do my best to see what we can make happen. Appreciate everybody's comments and questions. Keep them coming. And thanks for watching.